Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk for a brief moment about black women who happen to swirl and how the community seems to treat black women who happen to swirl. Alright, I kind of feel like, for me, if I was addressing this topic, say 10 years ago, I would probably be more inclined to say that, black women can swirl and seemingly have no issues as far as like from the community. But lately, it seems like people have been taking issues with black women swirling or exploring their options outside of the community as far as dating, marriage, children, having children, all that good stuff is concerned. You know? And I'm pretty sure there's plenty of black females who swirl, who have a lot of stories that they can tell about the mistreatment or the shady comments that they've received from black men and even black women. You know, sometimes black women can go in on black women who swirl for some reason. I don't understand that aspect of it, because when it comes to black men who swirl, typically black men don't feel the need to go in on black men who swirl. Not so much. Not so much. Perhaps I'm missing a piece to the puzzle. Perhaps I'm missing something. I don't know. But in this video, I want to talk a little, for a brief moment about kind of like, it seems like when black women, or some black women who swirl, or I say a lot of them, it seems like if a black woman kind of gets caught up, so to speak, in swirling and is, finds herself in sort of like a situation that's not a good situation, it seems like she's kind of like alone on her own. It's like, when a black woman swirls and she gets caught up, then it's like, that's what you get. Or, you're alone, like you on your own, right? But I think when it comes to black men who swirl and get caught up, it seems like people are more apt to defend the black man who's swirling. It doesn't seem like we leave the black man alone on his own when it comes to swirling as much as we do black women. That may play a part in the reason why black women tend to date interracially less. But yeah, you notice like, and of course there's a history of black men being caught up, particularly, set up and put in bad situations that, led to sometimes like their death at the hands of white women because they were dating interracially or doing whatever interracially, right? And of course, we have the history of black women in the United States as far as being raped by white men and not having any sort of legal recourse, any sort of protection, etc. Right? So we have those histories amongst us. So to me, it would seem like if someone got caught up swirling and found themselves in a bad situation, whether it be black male or black female, one would be like, well, either we just leave them both alone on their own, or we help both of them. And I can understand people kind of feeling like, well, you should be alone on your own because you should know better, right? And sometimes people are ignorant. I will say people are kind of ignorant to some things. So some people may legitimately not know better because they may have been raised in like an environment where there weren't like a lot of black people there. They may have been raised by non-black parents. They may have there's a ton of situations, possibilities, right? But I'll put it like this. Let's say if Serena winds up getting caught up, and put in a bad situation by her current fiance. Do you think the community would have much sympathy for Serena Williams? You think so? For some reason, I feel like Serena Williams would just be left alone on her own. Wow. Let's flip it around a little bit. Let's say, who's a swirler? Let's say if Shannon Sharp got caught up swirling, which he actually has kind of got caught up swirling. He was accused of rape by a white woman. But let's say he gets caught up swirling. Do you think Shannon Sharp would be left alone on his own? But I feel like those two situations might not be totally equivalent because people say, well, Shannon Sharp, he speaks out about black issues, right? So perhaps those two situations aren't compatible. Not compatible, but aren't equal. Okay. How about, let's say, Travis Scott and Kylie Jenner, right? How about them? If Travis Scott gets caught up in some situation with Kylie Jenner, how do you think folks will react to that? I think that might be a better comparison. I think ultimately, I feel like people would come to his defense, although there would be a whole bunch of "I told you so." But I feel like people would be willing to come to Travis Scott's defense before coming to Serena Williams' defense, because for some reason I think that we don't want to see, of course, black women don't want to see black men swirling, and black men don't want to see black women swirling, right? But when it comes to black men seeing black men swirl and black women seeing black women swirl, it's kind of like perhaps like whatever. Ain't hurting me. But I will say this, if we are to have a rule whether swirling is good or swirling is bad, we need to have the rule equal for both genders, right? We can't say it's good for just black men to swirl but not black women, because if you do that, then it's going to create resentment, and you're going to have a lot of resentful black women, and that's not a good thing. Excuse me, but that's not a good thing. And also, I think that black men need to set the tone for this. If swirling is good, then okay, swirl away. If swirling is bad, then we have to hold black men who swirl accountable if we're going to hold black women who swirl accountable. I feel like, me personally and my personal views on swirling, I don't promote swirling. I don't promote black people dating interracially. However, I don't totally hold it against black people who date interracially because I don't know their whole life story. It would be, how can I tell you what's good for you and I don't really even know you, right? How can I tell you what's good for you? Like, you would be in a better position to say what's good for you than I would. So I don't hold it against black people who swirl, as long as they're not bashing and talking down about their own people while doing it. As well, I think that swirling can work on an individual level, as far as it's good for somebody. Perhaps it may be good for somebody on an individual level, but as a group, if all black people decided to swirl, there would be no black community there would be no black people either, right? So I don't, that wouldn't help us, right? That wouldn't bring us to the promised land. You know, we would be in some other land. We don't know what land this is, but it ain't gonna get you to the promised land, okay? If you want to go get to the promised land, you need if you're a black man, then you're gonna need a black woman to get to the promised land. If you're a black woman, you're gonna need a black man to get you to the promised land, right? you know, you know, no matter who you're dating, right? You're gonna need a black person to get you to that black promised land, right? You're gonna need that. You ain't gonna get to the promised land without nobody black by your side, all right? You're gonna get somewhere, but it ain't gonna be to the black promised land. But I personally don't hold it against people who swirl, as long as they're not being like just straight up cooning it up while they're swirling. Just straight up cooning out like a wild ass coontastic Negro on the loose. As long as you ain't doing that, I was like, oh, okay, I can perhaps give you a pass on some things, right? Me personally. But I can understand people who are adamantly against swirling. Like, one person who comes to mind is Cynthia G. She makes good arguments. I'll definitely admit that. I'm like, okay, she really she really does make great arguments. And I respect her stance, and just being like straight up no with it. I respect that. But another thing to think about is like, what about the kids who come from this interracial union? Like, what do we classify them as? Do we classify them as, black, white, Latino, Asian, Middle Eastern, other, Native American? Like, how do we classify these children? Because as I said in previous videos, I don't think it's fair, and I don't think it's right that black people can go outside the community and have kids and then want to bring them back into the community, right? I don't think that's not fair. That's not fair to like the black people who have two black parents, who then have to deal with the colorism that comes from this union being perpetuated in the community because of this new person or new group of people within the community. Yeah, it's a lot of things to think about, though. But ultimately, I feel like you have to just do what's best for you, since I don't think anyone's thinking on a group level anyway. I think we tend to think individually, like, what are my decisions going to result in as far as I'm concerned versus as far as the community is concerned. So I think you should just do what's best for you, right? Well, I've gone on for long enough. Let me bring this video to a close. Thanks for watching. Adios and goodbye for now.